I woke up today and I read the Chainsaw Man chapter, and the first thought I had in my mind, this ending's going to hurt and I can't get it out of my head. So much so that I sat down, started to create kind of like an idea or a theory that could work for the ending of this story, and the more effort I put into it, the more I realized that I hate myself. Because it's sad and it's miserable. It's not entirely depressing, but it's definitely not the outcome that I personally want. Also, if you enjoy the video or find yourself coming back on the regular, why not leave a like and subscribe? I'd appreciate it. Today's chapter was fun. I love context. I love when Asa starts rambling, when she starts talking, when she starts being really emotional and vulnerable, because that's her. Every time we get it, I love it. Every time we explore further and further, I adore it. When we start getting new stuff, like last week, her childhood, her mother, her father, the context of her tripping over, what more do I want? Like, I already adore Asa Mitaka. I think she's one of Fujimoto's best characters, right up top there. Now we're getting even more self-sacrificial, claiming all of this guilt that she doesn't deserve. It's sad, it's miserable, but it's so empowering for her. The whole I want to go out doing the right thing. This is her character to a core. Like, the whole reason she trips to begin with, why she is okay with failing, is because she's doing something better. She's doing something right. And I need people to really understand that the way she tripped with her father is not the same as the way she trips throughout Chainsaw Man Part 2. Context of that situation, the drunken, violent nature of her father and tripping on purpose so perhaps he would die, is not the same when she trips within Chainsaw Man Part 2. You know what is the same though? Her thinking that she's doing the right thing. Yuko, for example, when she picks her up and saves her, she's running for her life and she falls over, but it's okay because she knew in that moment it was the right thing to do. She could have changed her, she could have evolved her, Yoru could have taken over. There's a lot of other situations that could have happened, but Asa at her core is just a girl. One that has very self-reflecting feelings, one that gets in her head emotionally a lot, and she's not a bad person. I love how this chapter frames that small part of her, that over the course of the story started to increase. What she truly thinks, how she wishes she could actually act. She's so nervous and anxiety-ridden and filled with all of these conflicting things in her mind that she can't get to the answers that she wants. So when you get in this mental palace, when she's conversing with child Denji, when she offers up a helping hand, when she claims this guilt and not being able to forgive herself, on one half, it is sad. It's miserable. It's something that she does not deserve. On the other side, it's empowering. Like, even through the stuff that's leaking over from Yoru's personality, the death, destruction, and killing of all of these people because they're sharing bodies, emotions, and memories, etc. Even through all of that, she still wants to do the right thing, which again, at her core, is her character. How can you not love that? You know what I mean? How can you not appreciate what she's trying to do right now? She's okay with dying. She's okay with sacrificing herself. However, what if I told you that's not entirely true? If there's one thing Asa's really good at, it's hiding what she truly means behind her face. This chapter is filled with a bunch of facial expressions. She's very obvious in how she feels when it comes to her face, but as soon as she tries to hide something, sometimes it disappears, like it becomes a blank canvas, like she's trying a little too hard to hide what she truly means. So of course, she wants to save Denji. She wants to do the right thing. She's willing to die to do it, but that doesn't mean she actually wants to die. I don't necessarily believe her words because her facial expression doesn't really align with it. It becomes blank and almost miserable. But you could argue maybe that's because of the claiming of guilt and not being able to forgive herself. So maybe it's all swirling together in a way where it's like she doesn't see an out of this situation. Yoru's not giving back her body, so it's kind of more depressing. Nothing can be done to save her, so she's okay with dying, saving someone else. Because she is willing to put herself in danger multiple different times throughout the story, even though she knows she could fail as long as she's doing the right thing, right? This is where the theory comes in, because the rest of the chapter is just chaos. Asa manages to take control, blows her head. Denji has the opportunity to kill her, erase her, take her out of the story entirely. But instead, he attacks everybody else. Fami, Death, and Swordman. And it makes you ask the question, why? Why not kill Yoru? Why not get rid of Asa entirely? The only way that Yoru dies is by erasing her. So you erase the concept of war, and obviously Yoru will go with her. she dies. What if I told you that there could actually be a way to change it? And I've talked about a couple of different theories before. Erasing devil concepts like the name itself, changing the way death works, being able to split Yoru and Asa apart, which sounds ridiculous, but still also could be a possibility. But then I thought about this. What would be a miserable, sad ending that still feels kind of hopeful, but is different to what you would actually expect? And then I thought about Denji's motive in all of this, where I think an ending for his character, an ending for his story would work beautifully with Asa surviving and him being the one to sacrifice himself to save her. Now you might think, okay, how does that work? How do we get there? Yoru needs to be dealt with, and I do think she has to be erased, but the problem is that Yoru and Asa obviously share a body. How do we get them apart? I was thinking, well, similar to how Pochita saved Denji at the beginning of the story, becoming his heart, wouldn't it be fitting, tragically beautiful, to have Denji and Pochita become her heart? Erasing the concept of war and this lifeless body being there, he inserts his heart into her and she lives. Simply, that's it. That's the theory. I could elaborate so much further, but really that's the core of it, right? And the more I thought about this, like, oh man, that's so poetic, that's so powerful. Could that actually work? And honestly, I think it could. Like, I don't want to go down this trope of like, oh, it's just doing the same as the beginning of the story, but the more I think about Pochita becoming Denji's literal heart in a corpse, like, mind you, Denji was not like dying or anything. He was genuinely chopped up. His body pieces were in a garbage bin. Pochita merged with those body pieces and brought it back to life. There's room for a lifeless corpse after Yoru gets erased conceptually, that Asa just dies as well. Bring her back by giving her your heart, which we've seen that he can do. Pochita and Denji become Asa's heart and she lives. Now, whether or not she remembers anything because of the whole guilt and not being able to forgive herself and experiencing all the people that she's killed through Yoru, etc., is a different story. On one hand, she could forget that any and all of this has ever happened and she goes on to live a very normal, simple life, potentially even forgetting about Denji, which would be so sad. I think about that type of ending and it makes me want to cry. But she lives and perhaps not burdened by all of this trauma. The other side is that she doesn't remember all of the trauma, but she does remember Denji. She knows what he'd done for her. She continues to kind of love him that way. There is a third option, one that's a little bit more power fantasy extreme, is that she becomes Chainsaw Woman, Chainsaw Man, Pochita 2.0, I don't know, basically the new vessel for Chainsaw Man within a new body. And Denji is either merged with Pochita to the point where he also is Chainsaw Man, so they become one with Asa, or he disappears entirely. I wouldn't mind it if, like, within the merging of their bodies, she can actually see Denji in this mental palace that she has. Like, that's the representation of it, so like she just sees Denji in these back alleyways, which I think would be really cute to be able to communicate, but as a ending for a story, it might not actually be all too fitting. It really depends on how much Fujimoto wants to hurt us as readers and what thematically, I guess, makes sense. I think this could work with obviously a lot of rearranging and contextualizing, but it also depends on like specifics of Yoru and death and Fami, etc. Like, Pochita had no reason to injure those characters in this chapter, yet he did it because he's worried that they're going to injure Asa. So it makes me think that Denji and Pochita are not going to do that at all, and perhaps make her dream come true and try and allow her to do the right thing. Getting rid of Yoru, however, is the biggest thing, and as a concept, I think she can be dealt with. It may not be to the full extent, I guess kind of similar to how Control was with Makima in Naruto. She did get erased, but not to the extent where she was gone for like 100 or 1,000 years. She resurrected instantly, and that's because Denji ate her personally rather than Pochita, which night and day difference. I'm obviously curious with what Fujimoto wants to accomplish, as we all are. Like, how are we emotionally going to feel by the end? Satisfied? Upset? Disappointed? It's hard to tell. Endings are the most crucial and difficult thing to pull off in any story. Like, you spend all of these years with lovable characters and lovable ideas and the experience overall, and if an ending is not up to par, if it doesn't match with any of that, it can ruin the whole experience. Think of any massive story that just kind of derailed, ruined a lot of things for a lot of people because of its ending. It could be its final chapter, maybe the final 5, maybe final 10. If that final sequence does not hit, it can tarnish the whole experience. Now, Fujimoto is a wonderful author. I'll glaze the man, but he has his ups and downs. I can admit that too. He has a lot of rough patches. Chainsaw Man Part 2 has some rough moments, don't get me wrong. Fire Punch has some rough moments too. Like, he's not a perfect author. But what I do expect, and what I can personally comfortably hope for, is that because this man has so much experience creating stories within different avenues and different aspects, different feelings, etc., every story he's produced, from one-shots to short stories to long stories, are so entirely different. That value of experience will help him make an ending that hopefully fits this story well. Whether it has something to do with Asa being resurrected and forgetting everything, or Denji and Pochita being her heart, which I think would be so beautiful but so sad, or something else entirely where the world just gets destroyed, or maybe devils get their names erased so they become technically humans, or maybe humans get their names erased and they all kind of equal each other out. I don't know. Will we ever see power? I wish, but I can't expect that to happen anymore. Maybe Denji just gets sent back to hell. Chainsaw Man Part 3 is finding power, which originally was the goal. Will we ever see Reze again? No, but I heard the movie was fantastic, so shout out to all of you that probably watched it. I can't, which sucks. I'm sad about it. It's not here where I am. Look, I have a lot of ideas and not enough time and not enough energy or context or blah blah blah. I could go on for days, but really that's the simplification of it. I'm excited for this ending and I love Asa as a character. I would like her to get an ending that I hope is right by her. I would not want her to die, and I don't think everything that's happened in this chapter is obviously cemented in concrete. So much bigger that this can get, and whatever way Fujimoto wants to take it, all I hope is that he does right by Asa, by Denji, and this story as a whole, which I think he will.